Hello lovely people, a warm welcome back to my channel. My name is Samira and today I want to share with you another lovely recipe. Okay, so this is a Shito recipe and the target for this recipe is for those with high cholesterol problems, those who are looking to reduce cholesterol intake, or those who are just trying to eat healthy. Okay, and this recipe offers you just that. Okay, so we all know that Shito is a chili oil. It requires a lot of oil to fry, and traditionally we use coconut oil, sunflower oil, or vegetable oil. And if you know a thing or two about cholesterol, you would know that these are not the best options. Okay, in fact, this is a subscriber request, and they told me they can eat olive oil in moderation and they can't eat shrimps. Okay, so I'm going to incorporate all that, right? So the challenge for me was how to make a healthy Shito recipe with all this in mind. So for this recipe, I will use the same concept as my 30-minute Shito recipe. So please stay with me as I go through how I made this easy, healthy, yet delicious Shito recipe. Okay, so let's start with the ingredients. Okay, so we have some onions. Okay, I have ginger, garlic. I have, there's some garlic. Okay, tomato paste or tomato puree or tin tomatoes if you're from Ghana. I have some chili powder. Okay, all right. I have some spices. The ground black pepper, ground cloves, ground star anise, ground aniseed, and ground calabash nutmeg. Also, I have fish powder or like herrings powder. Okay, and I have extra virgin olive oil. Okay, so that's what we're going to be using for this recipe. So what I'm going to be doing now is to be cutting my onions and then my ginger. Okay, I'm going to fry it, but we're not going to deep fry it. Okay, I'm going to be using my air fryer. So this recipe, you need an air fryer. If you don't have an air fryer and you have cholesterol problem, I would advise that you invest in one. Otherwise, you can also use your oven. But when you use the oven, it will not give you the same taste, okay? Because we're going to be essentially using a different technology to fry, and frying using an air fryer will give you that caramelization that we require for this recipe. Okay, so as I mentioned, we're going to be using olive oil. Okay, and we're using extra virgin olive oil. Okay, so with extra virgin olive oil, we know that it is packed full of beneficial, healthy fatty acids and powerful antioxidants as well, and they lower your bad cholesterol, which is the LDL. Okay, while leaving the good cholesterol, the HDL, right? So the cholesterol lowering effect of olive oil are even greater if you use extra virgin olive oil. That's why we're using extra virgin oil. It means that the oil is less processed and contains more heart healthy antioxidants. My science has come here. I mean, to me, my science and that just said me feeling me who too. So yeah, I brush my air fryer and brush the vegetables with some olive oil. Okay, and I put it in my air fryer to fry. Okay, so I'm using the vegetable option or the vegetable function. Okay, to I set my air fryer to 6 minutes. Okay, and then after 6 minutes I brought it out to I came in and I came to break the onions apart. Okay, because I cut them into round slices. Okay, so I broke them apart, right? Then I put it back in. So I was in and out, in and out, in and out, back and forth like that until it's fried nicely. If you leave it in it and you don't attend to it like intermittently, one side will fry or something, I don't know, but I kept going back in and out to fry it, and at some point you find that some of it like that has fried. This already fried. So what I did was take them out and put them like aside on a plate somewhere, and then continue to fry the other ones. Okay, so as I said, we are using the same concept as my 30 minutes Shito, but in this case we are using air fryer, which is going to make it even healthier. Don't forget, we are targeting healthy eating, or people who cannot eat oil, right? They eat very little oil, and it has to be olive oil, and then they can also have shrimps as well. Okay, but if you can have shrimps and oil is your problem, you can add the shrimps. Like, I just took it out just for demonstration purposes. Okay, so now my onions are nicely fried and they are caramelized. I tell you, trust me if I say they are really caramelized, because the taste that came out was amazing, and the smell is incredible. The aroma is perfect. Okay, so I go in and I brush my air fryer again, and I put in my ginger. Don't mind the white bit of my air fryer. I have a boy who cleans my son. Just say ofa wire o twi bibia. Then to unu say we non-stick and fa wire ntwi. No the wire. Or the wire twi ni ya me hu ye me yem ba, what can I do? Me ba me na me so ntwi nchensi. So the ginger is also fried. Some bits are fried, so I'm taking those out so that they don't burn. Okay, so you have to keep going in to check that. Okay, and once they are nicely fried, okay, so they are dried out. Okay, so we are going for bone dry. Yeah, that's what we're going for. Yeah, so yeah, once it's done, I'm trying to show you that they are nicely dried. It hasn't got any moisture in it. Okay, so once it's all done, you pour that one aside too. Then we'll do our garlic. Okay, so we're going to fry our garlic, the same process. If you remember how I did my 30 minutes Shito, we fried everything, but we deep fried it in oil. Okay, but we are doing this in air fryer because we don't want oil. We want to minimize the oil. Don't forget, he or she, or they said they can only eat olive oil in moderation, so we don't want to add too much oil to it. Okay, so here I'm done with the garlic, so I've set it aside. So it's now time for the blending. Okay, so we're going to be blending. So for the olive oil, what I can say is that I didn't measure it technically. Like, I didn't say that this is the measurement, this oil I'm going to be using, right? So what I did was I had 1 liter of extra virgin olive oil, and I have used more than half. Okay, so it means that it was about 400 or 450 liters of oil, but I didn't use all of that. Okay, so I'm going to say I used about 400 or possibly 350. Okay, so here I blended it in my smooth blender because I was going for the smooth option of Shito. And here, the way technology failed me here, so the blender wouldn't blend, all because there wasn't a lot of moisture to turn the blade. It was turning the blade, but then the quantity of the things I was blending wasn't a lot. So now I had to resort to my my chopper. So it blended it somewhat, but it wasn't as smooth as I hoped. Okay, so I was going for smooth, but technology failing me. I didn't get smooth, but it's fine. It's all fine. It's just the demonstration that is important, not what I actually got. So if you have a blender that can blend it smoothly, then you anyhow. Okay, so I've blended it to what I could blend it to. I couldn't do any further. So yeah, that is how it looks like. So now we're going to put the Shito together. So I'm pouring some oil. So as I said, I did not measure the oil, so I kept pouring. But I'm gauging based on how much was left. Okay, so I've put in a bay leaf and I'm adding some tomato puree. Right, so I'm going to fry this until it's dried out. Not dried out, but it becomes to separate. Okay, once it separates, then I start to add the other dry ingredients, which will be my spices and my chili powder. Okay, so here, as I said, yeah, I'm adding my chili powder right now. I wouldn't add a lot because this chili powder, I believe, say either Indian chili, it's not Ghana chili. I know you're doing keke. So I use just a little bit. So here are my spices, okay, which I've already listed for you, and it will also be in the description box, right? So so you fry it, then you add your fried air fried vegetables, okay, and aromatics. You just aromatics and okay, so you just add it, and that one you don't need to fry it for long because it's already fried, right? Then you add your fish powder. Okay, so and that is add your salt. Fry it. We are just reheating it, okay, because we don't want to fry it too much. Like we're not adding a lot of oil, just enough to fry it. So once the taste is perfect, bang on to your satisfaction, your shito is ready, and the shito is ready. That is it. Just look at that. Perfect shito. And it is very healthy because of the oil we used. So you need to look out for that particular oil and you use, because we don't use olive oil because it's too expensive. That's why we use the cheap options to fry our shito. So, but if you can afford it, but then when you're using this, you don't need a lot of oil. You keep it in your fridge, okay, so that it doesn't spoil. But from time to make sure that the tin or container is in, you clean round it, and you always go in with a clean spoon to scoop some, okay, otherwise ever say so, because it hasn't got a lot of oil to preserve it, okay, you get the flow. So the keeping it, preserving it, is not going to be automatic like we do with the other shito, because it hasn't got a lot of oil, okay, and the oil will all start to settle up, or like, because it's not a lot, it was all in it. So when you're scooping it, you have to be careful and you make sure your spoon is always clean. You keep it in your fridge, because otherwise it will spoil, because there's no oil to preserve it, as I mentioned. So thank you. This is all I wanted to share with you. I hope this video is very useful. Please share it to anybody that you think will find this recipe useful, okay? And thank you for joining me today. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.